How are you? Happy health, right? So this is Shanna from bringing you a weekly forecast for October 31st to November 6th. So I thought I'd give myself a little special since. So yeah, this week we have this. Starting with this weekend, we have some really crazy energy, and it's week's gonna start off with a bang, I guess. I mean, the weekend anyway. Depending on what level of lockdown, whether or not go in, or and number of the holidays celebrating then. So, and by the way, I hope my eye would make fun for everybody today, which I don't know at all, as you can tell. So, anyway, I. So, to go over the general energy, or just the start to the general, I want to just talk about what's going on. So obviously on Saturday, everybody's aware there's full moon. As it happens on 1944. And I know it's but I could be wrong. So the full moon will be conjunct Uranus, sustaining, liberating, freedom, crazy whirlwind energy of Uranus, which is really fun, by the way. I'm excited for it. And then the next day, on November 1st, we have Mercury in retrograde coming into its second square with Saturn. We also have Venus opposition to Chiron, so we're going to talk about that. And then on Tuesday, November 3rd, we do have Mercury stationing direct in the United States. This is election day for us. This is a very important day for us for various reasons. So I'm going to briefly touch on that. And then on Friday, on November 6th, we have Mercury direct coming into its exact final square with Saturn. Now, through this whole week, this coming week, even starting on Saturday, even now, Mercury is in square with Saturn. Mercury is retrograde. Depending on the school of astrology that you follow, because Mercury will rise before Saturn, it's in an advantaged position, even though it's retrograde. So it did come into that casino point last week with the sun, and it is, it does rise. So it's an interesting mix of energy. We'll see how it plays out, and definitely let me know in the comments below how it plays out in your life and what you see happening. Because to me, the square with Saturn is like this educational speech, the very narrow-minded viewpoints, people being very, putting the blinders on and no, it's my way, my way, my way. I'm only thinking about this. This is how I need to think about it. This is how you need to think about it. That kind of thing. And, then obviously, we'll get into that when we get into what's going on. So, I will show my screen now. So that's just my little, that's the mask that goes over costume that I didn't use share that I personally have it, but not so to start off the weekend, we do have this full moon in Taurus. It's creepy season with the sun in Scorpio. Scorpio is very enigmatic sign. It's very secretive sign. It's very much dredging up and mucking up and, bringing up all of that dirt and mud and, icky things. Maybe it's like people call it your shadow work, green screen. People call it your inner demons, call it your mind fuckery, like whatever you want to call it. And if you have a problem with swearing, by all means, just change the channel. But Scorpio is pretty much we're all things dark, all things deep, all things taboo, old-fashioned. I mean, there's a reason that Scorpio is associated with the dead. This in ancient times, this was when things. I mean, if you're looking at it seasonally in the northern hemisphere, which obviously is what astrology is based on, this time of year is when your gardens can die back and shallow. Um, it's not offering the plenty that it did in summertime. Until now, we're heading into the dark nights, the long nights, where fires burning to keep the wolves at bay. So, what this is doing for this time of year is this is kind of places that inside of us that are darker, those, murdering thoughts. American Psycho comes to mind. Why that just came in my head, but it did. So anyway, and on a side note, this is the third time. So I feel like Claire in Heroes, and I'm dating myself here, saying attempt number, right? So we'll see. This moon conjunct Uranus is throwing me crazy. So the sun in Scorpio shows us Scorpio conscious, right? It shows us the sun shines a light into those dark places. With the moon in Taurus, this is bringing it back down to that physical reality. And the moon is in the exact opposition, so there's two lights, right? There's one shining on Taurus, which is very earthly, very sensual. You have the dark, the deep, the sexual sun, right? So it's this balance point between earth and spirit. If you really want to break it down into something so simple, it is that balance point between earth and spirit. Now, this full moon, which a normal full moon would be a regular culmination, endings, or it would be completion and fruition and all of that, and then over the coming weeks until the new moon, you would be not necessarily the case this time because we have Uranus. So Uranus is liberation and freedom, and it's very liberating energy. Like it's other than liberating it, right? But this moon in conjunction with Uranus, let's just figure this out here. So this moon in a conjunction with Uranus, while the moon brings up our inner hurts and inner traumas and those situations and circumstances, and the full moon brings everything to the surface, that Uranus energy is liberating from being stuck, being stagnant, doing the same old every time something triggers us, and every time something comes up, or every time, just a pizza. But this Uranus energy, it could really liberate you emotionally from those stuff stagnant, the traumas, the hurts, shadows, it could shine that light in and say, it's time for you to let this go, right? Because this really truly is, to me, this is almost like a karmic full moon. Like, this is the last full moon, and then in 2 weeks it's the last new moon before we enter eclipse season. Now, once we enter, so to me, this is the last full moon before we hit eclipse season, right? So this is it. This is the last time we're going to be working with the energies that we were going through over summer, and now we're entering a whole new paradigm, especially with the nodes having shifted from Cancer and Capricorn now to Gemini and Aquarius. So this full moon is very much a very liberating karmic completion, ending, whatnot of those traumas and stuff, stagnant, deep emotional woundings that we have. And so wherever this falls in your chart, this can be written deep and intense responses to mind partners of the world. And using this is very surprising energy, this shake up energy, this is very much um, you know, it's just gonna be interesting. I really want to see how this plays out, not only in real life, but in the lives of people. Because this is a really interesting to see how that will be first, in a couple of weeks. Um, but this kind of energy, if you are not thinking, being, acting outside of the box, outside of the norm, and making the changes that you need to make, that energy will come in at you. And so, really, what it is just taking the reins of your life and being like, oh, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to focus on, and this is how I want to do that. Obviously, you know, things happen, but I like to at least think them sometimes, right? So enough about the full moon. We're going to talk about that in the general for all 12 signs. So the following day on Sunday, we do have the hard aspect between Saturn and Mercury. And so maybe, maybe the day before, because these are coming exactly the day after, maybe the day before you went too hard at it, you drank a little too much, you smoked a little too much, you did a little too much, and the next day you are really paying for it because, Saturn and Mercury coming, and like Saturn's like, what did you do last night, right? So there's that. So Mercury is slowing down, go direct in a few days, and in square with Saturn, this is hard aspect, right? So squares are really hard aspects. So mentally, we're not at our best right now. Mercury being retrograde and slowing down to move direct, we could be feeling very mentally foggy, very stuck, very stagnant, maybe even a little narrow-minded, and unwilling to see the big picture and the opportunities from that full moon, because maybe, like I said, we overdid it. Um, so, but this square can show up as pessimism, stubbornness to change your mind. This is an unwillingness to compromise, even if it's for the greater good, and being that very stubborn, kind of like digging your heels in and like, no, 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 that's like almost like a temper tantrum. Um, so this can also show up as mental laziness, like maybe you're starting, maybe you're really super intelligent, but maybe not from the universe, right? Like maybe you do have an STD from the night before, and you got somebody coming in and being like, you, and you're like, so we do have that. But on this day, we also have Venus, right? Like Venus in an opposition to Chiron. So Venus is the planet of love, harmony, money, relationships, and she's in her home sign of Libra. And she's happy there because she's very diplomatic. She's very much about the other person and her, and the reciprocity that brings with the sign of Libra. But she's in an opposition with Chiron, the the hurts, the traumas, the pains, the sins that just won't heal, right? The things we just can't see, the places we feel so uncomfortable that if we talk about it, we start crying, or if we start to talk about it, our throat closes up, and right? It's that kind of energy. So this could be a really uncomfortable feeling or a conversation, an issue, event happening around finances, or even self-worth, depending on what it calls for you. And the hangover, right? Like to go back to that hangover that I was talking about earlier. So maybe you spent too much, or maybe you really or your associate, and now you feel like diving into that rock and share. I have had those things, so I can definitely say that. But really, this too shall pass. It's they're not going to days, just, the only thing I can say is whatever mistakes that you feel that you've made or any hurt or wounds or anything like that, make sure that, you're sucking it up. You're like, okay, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Sorry, I'm not, right? Like, and use that more year on in, because this is just the next day. You will be in forest for a little while, and the last aspect is going to take place from metro. So, own it and make a nice if you can. So then on Tuesday, we do have Mercury stationing direct. Okay. So the only two planets we have left in retrograde are Mars and Venus. So we are officially out of retrograde season, and by the middle of the month, Mars will be turning direct, and we'll just have Uranus. Uranus will be a bad thing. Happens, 6 months out of the year, fine. We're used to that. So this can kind of see us being like, all right, let's go. We're moving forward, right? So maybe we take incremental steps forward. Maybe not yet, though, because Mars is still retrograde. Our willpower is not there. Our passion's not there. We're still kind of in that foundation where we want to go and what we want to do. But now we're kind of getting our head straight, except for the fact that Mercury is stationing in square with Saturn. So this is really, go back to what I was talking about with that Saturn. This is really going to be, all week long, we're kind of fighting this same energy of Mercury square Saturn stationing from retrograde to direct and moving forward. So, this is really just a mental fortitude at its core. And, this is a tough decision. And it's going to be a little while before we come to be honest, and we're really able to integrate and really understand what it is that we're looking forward. So this can see us having to suppress our urges, our desires. This is and this could even see us having to maybe it's not the best idea to walk around. Just look around what's going on. This is also some big tech corporations and the powers that be suppressing. I think several other astrologers have alluded to this or mentioned this, and like they said, dollar gets censored, right? So make sure though, if you are coming up and butting up against the powers that be, or coming up against that hard frustration point of, well, this is what I think, this is what I see, this is what I believe, rah, rah, rah. You're not being so narrow-minded, and you're really opening up and as well. Okay? That's just that. So I'm not going to talk about the last square of Saturn. We're going to jump into all 12 signs, just as for time's sake. So we're going to be talking about this full moon coming up tomorrow, because I am filming this on Friday the 30th. We have here in the United States punishment. At least it was a bigger thing when I was a kid. I don't know if it's even a big thing now. Like cabbage money, when we used to go like, I never did. I will say that. I never, right? I'll sit on myself. I never threw eggs at anybody's house or cars, but I did toilet paper someone's tree once. That I will say. I was that kid. But I can't even blame it on peer pressure. I wanted to see what it was like, so I wanted to experience like bad. I didn't do it, and that's just daddy caught me. So, all right. So for Aries and for Aries rising, so this full moon conjunct Uranus is happening in your second house, right? So maybe with the sun up in your eighth house, you've been really focusing hard on eighth house themes, joint finances, joint money, other people's money, inheritance tax, insurances, maybe, focusing really hard on that. Well, this full moon, and especially this conjunction of Uranus, it's gonna surprise. It's gonna be very surprising. Something's gonna happen, and either you're going to have to spend money for something out of the blue, or you're gonna get something out of the blue, right? Because Uranus is really difficult to predict. If you try to predict it, you're generally gonna be wrong. It's kind of like eclipse energy, right? Like it's just gonna shape you and wake you, and it's not something you can accurately predict. So, I mean, it could go one way, it could go the other, or it could go anywhere along that spectrum, right? Like maybe you get money that comes in, but then it's gonna go right back out again, right? Like it's that kind of energy. So Uranus is definitely having a factor in your second house of your self worth. This is shaping up your self worth. This is shaping up what it is that you value, your contribution to the world, and any kind of material possessions that you have. So, I mean, yeah, this weekend, and you know, in the next coming 2 weeks until we get that new moon in Scorpio, this could see you. I mean, I just keep feeling like very walking away. Like, you know what? I'm done. Done. Over it. Done. Right? And just like walking away. Like just putting it down. Like whatever possession it is, they're just done. And you put it down and you walk away. Like that's what I keep getting with this one. Like it's just they're done. They're Aries. They're like done. I'm done. Right? So there's that. And for Taurus and for Taurus rising, this is exciting for Taurus. Taurus does not like change. Taurus is very much that slow moving earthly energy. And it's a fixed sign, so that makes it even more so. However, with Uranus, I mean, coming for your sun, your moon, your ascendant, it's going to shake things up. And Taurus are very much feeling this. They're either going kicking and screaming, or they're jumping all in. You know what? It's time. Okay, so for this full moon, this is almost if you're rising sun or moon. Well, rising and sun. The moon is more of a perspective thing, but your rising and your sun sign are very much outward expressions, and can be outward expressions. The rising sign is the body and what happens physically. Your sun is where your energy is at. So, I mean, it could shape up that it's a flavor if it's your sun of this energy. So if you're a Taurus rising or if you're a Taurus sun, it could show up in any different houses. But this is this is very much shaping Taurus energy up. This is communication, I think. And so for rising especially, this is you. This is your body. This full moon is gonna affect every area of your life. Okay, because this is if you're a Taurus rising from anywhere from, I would say, 6 to 12 degrees, this is really going to be shaking you up. I mean, this could see you being that shake up energy. This could see you being the one that's initiating all these crazy changes, right? With this Uranus energy, this could also be something happening, right? Something coming in to you and shaking you up and whatnot. I mean, Aquarius rules your 10th house. So, I mean, this could be because Aquarius rules your 10th house, Uranus, therefore, is the ruler of your 10th house. So, how you now called. And the moon rules your rules your third house, how you communicate and how you think and how you speak. I mean, this full moon could see you, Taurus. Yeah, I mean, this could see you coming out. This could see you like announcing to the world who you are and what it is you've been doing. Like if it's any sources, like I said, dream art, this is life altering for you. This is you changing who you are out in the world and how you're known and how you're being. So there is that. So go Taurus. So for Geminis and Gemini rising, this is happening in your 12th house. So this shake-up energy, I mean, this is Geminis, if you are traveling to a foreign country, be careful, okay? If you are traveling to a foreign country, because Sun is called ninth house, because that's where Aquarius is for you, Gemini, you're traveling, be careful. That's what I have to say. Do not get in trouble because you could go to jail for foreign country. 12th house, rules prisons. Be careful. You're going to wind up going to a hospital because you hurt yourself. Careful. That's what I have to say for that. Also, if you're not traveling and you're a Gemini rising, this could be a new spiritual practice that's coming in out of the blue. This could see you having these crazy, crazy downloads, crazy dreams, right? Like futuristic dreams are coming in, or have or daydreams even, right? Because 12 houses is just regular dreams. And so, like, this is also past lives. Maybe your perception on the world around you is changing, and you go into a past life regression, and you're, oh my god, I hear like all these things that bother you since I, remember, I understand now, right? Like it could be something like that. Like there's so many ways that this can show up because it's your honest. This is just going to shake you out of whatever complacency, especially whatever complacency and whatever dogmatic beliefs you have in that 12th house of spirituality, past lives, any karma that you have. This is going to be shaking that up and bringing it to attention in a profound way. So, Gemini, go for it. So for Cancer rising, this Taurus full moon is happening in your 11th house. So Uranus, right, in the 11th house, Uranus is really at home in the 11th house because if you're looking at the regular zodiac, Uranus actually rules Aquarius, which is the natural ruler of the 11th house. So Uranus is comfortable. It likes it here. It likes to change stuff here. This is technology. This is internet. This is the organizations and the people you associate with by choice. This is your hopes, your wishes, your dreams. This is even the money that you get from that 10th house, from that Aries 10th house. The money shows up in the 11th house. So this could see Cancers. This could see Cancers getting a windfall, right? Like you've been working really hard on something. It rules Aquarius, rules your 8th house. For now, right? Like Saturn's not there yet, so they're gunning for Aquarius for you. But right now they're not there, and right now it's the natural 8th house ruler, which is healing and trauma and whatnot, and in the 11th house, you could find that, and with the moon there and the moon rules you could find that you just be careful though, Cancers, because this could also see your nervous system on hyperdrive. Like, stay away from the stimulants for the next few days. Just in case. I'm not a professional doctor. Do not take medical advice from me. Putting that out there, but just be careful of stimulants. But with this though, this could see a crazy. Like this could see a very healing move for you in terms of friendships that you're surrounding yourself with. Maybe you reach out to some of your friends because you're feeling hurt about something, and what they tell you or what they give back to you, and from that, that very Uranian standpoint, maybe there can be some massive healing going on for you as Uranus rules your 8th house, right? So you have to look at the moon rules you, and so you physically are being shaken out of complacency and themes of scarcity, strongest and food in the past. And this is a culmination or completion of those, and it's in your friendship house. So this could see you reaching out to your friends in your social circle. Like, hey, I'm having a really hard time dealing with this, and what they come back with is so shocking that it's like, oh my god, I never thought of it that way. Thank you, right? Like, and you have just this massive feeling from it because it completely shifts your mindset on something. right? On something or something struggling. So for Leo and for Leo rising, this full moon is happening in your 10th house, Leo, not 10th house, right? So this is how people know you. This is what people know you by. So the 10th house is your career, social status, your legacy. This is what you. This is how the outside world in your career sees you. This is what people know you as, right? So for me, I'm trying to, trying to get my astrology business going out there on the internet, right? So this full moon for Leo risings, I mean, Uranus rules your 7th house, right? Because it's Aquarius. So it could see this full moon, and because the moon is the 12th house of spiritual practice, of, this Uranus is fickle. I'm going to say fickle because you can never really predict accurately what's going to happen. Uranus is just like an eclipse. You can kind of guess, but you never really know how all the pieces are going to fall. So for Leo rising, especially rising, this could see you either completing a contract with someone. This could see you signing a contract with someone. This could see you either getting married or getting divorced, right? Like completion, finalization, fruition. If you've been working really hard out there to change your image and change your status, you could see it come to fruition over the course of the next several weeks, until that new Scorpio when the energy kind of shifts back into that deeper, darker, whatever. But this would especially be felt by Leo sons and if you have your house anywhere from 6 to 12 degrees of Taurus or 6 to 12 degrees of Leo, you'd be feeling this, right? So this would really hit you in such a way that it will just catapult you in a direction, right? So be cognizant of that, but also be cognizant that Uranus rules your 7th house because it is Aquarius. So this is contractual obligation, partnership, marriage partners, clients. And so you could see a shakeup of that, as well as the moon. If you have a spiritual business, it rules your 12th house. It rules that, the moon is 12th house business. Just be cognizant of that as well. So good luck to you. So for Virgo and for Virgo rising, this Taurus full moon is happening in your 9th house. This is foreign travel, foreign countries, foreign people. This is education. This is your perspective of the world. This is father figures or paternal figures. This is also teachers, educators, right? Like that higher mind. So maybe you've been working so diligently, and this full moon comes in with Uranus, and maybe you get recognized by one of your teachers, right? Or maybe you have a breakthrough when it comes to your health because Uranus rules your 6th house. That's where Aquarius is for you. So for you, maybe you have a teacher comes in and you're like, yeah, I've been having these really good health issues, and then all of a sudden this teacher comes in and says, hey, I think maybe you should try this or whatnot, and it works, and it helps you, figure things out with your body. Or this is also the thing with your daily. So, it's maybe something comes in and kind of shakes you up and makes you out of course to do For Virgo, though, the moon is your 11th house of your social circles. So maybe out of you've learned something from your social circle or your friends about how. So there is that kind of energy as well. So Virgos, wow, I'm jelly. I'm totally jelly. Virgos. So for Libra and for Libra rising, this full moon is happening in your house. This is a very house. So this is your finances, this is your taxes, this is your areas, this is also your house of death. This is insurances, this is traumas or healing from traumas, this is psychological issues, and this is your obsessions, right? 8th house is very much that Scorpio energy, but for you, it's Taurus. So this full moon, especially Libra. Interesting. So for you, Libra, the moon is your 10th house sword, Cancer, and for you, Uranus will be the 5th house partnership. and sexy romance, children, whatnot. So maybe, I mean, if you're a Libra and maybe you're pregnant with Libra, if you have had Saturn transiting that fourth house. So if you're pregnant, if you've had children recently, or if you're figuring out whether or not you want children, Libra, this is going to bring up all of those traumas, all of those insecurities, all of those wounding. And so what this could be is, if you are having issues, this could be a pull from either a lover or maybe a child or something like that, in terms of how people see you, especially because the moon knows how people see you. Maybe this is coming out and saying, I'm pregnant and I'm kids, right? Like, and it just shocks people because maybe they never thought you ever would, or maybe it's a surprise pregnancy. Surprise! Who doesn't love surprises, right? So, I mean, it could be that, but this could be also surprising the world with creative endeavor, and surprising people with a creative endeavor that is going to change how people play, how people well, and it's going to be very healing. Like, it could be a healing. Maybe you're not your psychologist, right? Maybe, or maybe you decide that you're going to be a past life regressionist, or something like that. But this Uranian energy is very much shaking everything up in that area of life of the eighth house. So what it's trying to do is liberate you from those traumas, those little things, that psychological issues, and right? Like, it's time to liberate. So let it. For Scorpio and for Scorpio rising, this Taurus full moon, this is your seventh house, Scorpio. Oh, I have some friends that are Scorpios, and I'm really kind of excited to see how this plays out for them. So, this full moon is happening in your seventh house. This is your husband, your wife, your partner, your business partner, your contractual obligations. This is long-term relationships or clients. This is also the house of open enemies. Uranus, however, rules your fourth house because it rules Aquarius. Aquarius is your fourth house, right? So, and the moon rules your ninth house, Scorpio. So this could, in your seventh house, I mean, this could see somebody coming to visit you. This could see someone either in or out of your home. This could, this could be a new pet, right? Because pets are seen, maybe you, or, maybe you decide that you're going to, this could be something as crazy as going and getting a dog from another state or something, or another country, or having to travel to go get an animal, right? Because animals are seen in the house, like a dog or a cat or whatever. There's that. But this could also see, like, just in general, being in the seventh house, this could see your significant other either surprising you with something, or surprise. A surprise is positive or negative depending on your perception of it. So this could see some shakeups. This could see some very interesting things happening. Maybe you have an at-home business and you decide that you need to take a break from that and get out. Maybe take a short trip somewhere to get away from home because it's been too much. Too crazy at home, and you need to get out, and you have a small business, so you're doing something somewhere else. It could be something like that. So, for Sag and for Sag rising, Sagittarius, I'm sorry, so especially for my Saggies, I have some Saggies. It's really kind of crazy. Just real quick, I've had an uptick in Sagittarius people come into my life this year, which is really interesting because that's where the South Node is transiting in my fifth house of Sagittarius, and I have a couple of planets there. So as soon as anyway, Sagittarius, this full moon. So this full moon is happening in your sixth house. So for you, Sagittarius, this is your daily routine. This is your daily routines. This is your service to others. This is your job, right? Your everyday job. This is your health and your wellness. And this also includes your mental health, right? Because I think that people don't take that into consideration when they're talking about the sixth house. Like, yeah, the third house is how you think, how you communicate, but in terms of healthy, your sixth house is where your health is at, right? This is also what you do on a daily basis, and this is how you structure your days. So you could see, like, maybe you are a creature of habit, Sagittarius, and for your day is set up a certain way, and something happens over the course, surrounding this whole moon or week that is shaking you out of consistency, changing up your routine, making things go sideways when really you just want to be able to keep going forward with what it is that you're doing. But ultimately, this is liberating you from that stuck, stagnant energy of those daily routines, of your service and how you show up in service to other people. So roll with it, right? Like, don't get so stuck and so narrow minded in terms of the future that you want to envision that you miss out on a really great opportunity to change things up, right? So that's strategy. For Capricorn and Capricorn rising, this one is happening in your fifth house, right? This is sex, this is romance, this is love affairs, this is hobbies, this is play, this is children, even, right? This is your self expression, this is how you express yourself. And these are the things that you love to do just because you love to do them. So this portion of your life is going to be shaken up. It's going to be woke up. Like, maybe something happens in the life of one of your children that is just absolutely crazy, right? Or maybe because Uranus is that second house for you and Cancer is that seventh house for you, there's some type of new contractual obligation that really changes how you feel about yourself, right? That self-worth, because Uranus rules your second house of self-worth. So maybe something happens that comes in because you just have a really rough time of these last 2 years. Perhaps, you had Saturn, you had Pluto, and then you had Jupiter rolling in the mix. And then earlier this year, you had Mars roll through. Like, you guys have really seen a lot of hard things. And this full moon in your fifth house could see a complete change in how you express yourself. Maybe you're getting more creative. Maybe you're changing up what it is that you're doing, especially with that seventh, the ruler of your seventh house, of what you're doing in terms of your contracts, of your business partners, of marriage partners, of your clients, even maybe even like, yeah. I mean, second house, man, that's your self worth. That's what you value. That's the effort that you put in for, those gains, those monetary gains. And so this could see something crazy coming out of the blue. Maybe you turn a hobby into a career, or you turn a hobby into a money, right? Or you just have this sense that, what, I've been through a lot and I am stronger for it, and you're going to show that to the world. I think this is a new lover coming in too, right? With Uranus, you never know. And I love that about Uranus, is that it's kind of like, well, you look left, oh no, you should have been looking right because it's over here, right? And it's going to come and smack you in the face. But it's all good. It's all for the highest good. This is a full moon, so this is completion. This is manifestation. This is something coming into your life, or something finalizing and completing. Okay? So have fun with it, Cappies. Some jelly. So for Aquarius and for Aquarius rising, this full moon is in your fourth house of your home, your family, your property. This is your mother or your maternal line, right? Your roots and where you come from. It can be seen as parents in general, and or parental figures, right? Maybe you are kind of a parent. Maybe you. This is you, right? Uranus rules you. The moon, right? This rules your daily routines, and this full moon is happening in your fourth house. Maybe you bring a baby from Aquarius. That would be interesting, right? This is shaking you up in terms of that fourth house property. Maybe it's not that, right? Maybe in general, like, this full moon happening with Uranus in your fourth house, this is you either buying or selling your property, right? This is you you've been focusing so much on that career aspect that you have to bring it back into balance. But there's something that's crazy that happens on the home front that kind of like blows everything out of the water, and you're like, oh my god, right? Like I gotta move, or I gotta sell my house, or I gotta buy my house, or or maybe someone comes to visit you. Maybe like yeah, maybe somebody unexpectedly shows up at your house and you're like, oh my god, what is going on here? Like maybe they're an unwanted guest, maybe they're a wanted guest. You don't know. I don't know, because that Uranian energy is very much, it's almost like trying to predict it, but you don't really know how it's all going to play out until it's on. So Aquarius and Aquarius rising, whoo, you are fun. Just hold the reins, man. Hold the reins and just go for a ride. So for Pisces and for Pisces rising, finally Pisces, this Taurus full moon is happening in your third house. This is communication, small business owners. This is like your self-made wealth in terms of, what it is that you yourself have created. And this could be your community. This could be vehicles. This could be siblings or extended family members like cousins or aunts or uncles or whatnot. This is also early education, and this is the details, right? So for you, Pisces, Uranus rules your 12th house, and Cancer rules your 5th house. Okay, so this full moon happening in your 3rd house of how you're communicating, maybe you're starting a spiritual business, or even astrology business. Like, what Pisces do you know that's not attracted to anything esoteric, occult, or astrology, or spiritual, or woo woo, as people like to say these days, like anything like that. So this could see you communicating. Okay, so this could see you communicating from that 12th house realm, right? Like, because Uranus has been in your 3rd house of communication in your 12th house. With this full moon smack dab right on top of Uranus transiting your 3rd house, this could see you taking that hobby, that love, that passion of astrology and making a business out of it if you have not already. If you are already in the business, this could see you pulling that out of the water and really catapulting yourself into a different direction, right? Yeah, wow, Pisces. So that's all I'm going to say on that. This is all, well, no, because this could also see shakeups in terms of how you're communicating. Maybe, it's 3rd house and it's a full moon, so maybe you're trying to communicate with people and your electronics friends. Like, it could be something seriously simple as that, right? Like but it's been Mercury retrograde electronics, like overly so. It could be overly so. Maybe you have a phone and it like completely does crazy things. That's calls like a conference call, right? Something like that. But Pisces. Okay, so there we go. So that is my forecast for all 12 signs. I hope you enjoy this. Please like, share, subscribe, and I look